Hey everyone! Thank you for taking the time to join in with Uncommon Women Podcast, a dope podcast to bring light to reality from real life people sharing real life stories with a host of women having real life talk, the good and the bad, with no judgment. Uncommon Women's Loyalty is here to support those that need a safe space to speak their truth and rawness to the world. Tune in, relax, take notes, and let's vibe. Here are your hosts, Uncommon Women.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Uncommon Women. I am super excited to bring in our guest speaker for the month of May. We have Breanna, which she has spent years battling binge eating, body obsession, diet extremes. Today, she's able to tell her story, her truth in regards to how she's able to help women go deeper than the scale helping them rewire their beliefs, heal their nervous system, and reclaim their joy. So I'm super excited for today and her journey in regards to her testimony of how she was able to transition her life with a healthy lifestyle and how she's not able to, just focus on weight loss, but also about wholeness and loving yourself and, all the things that we need to encounter when trying to lose weight, but also learn how to love ourselves. So first and foremost, thank you, Breanna, for coming on the show today. I'm super excited. How's your Friday going?
It's going. I'm glad we're here. I really do separate the weekends from the week, and I'm like, I go to the beach a lot in the summer on the weekends.
Oh, okay.
So this is just my prime time. I'm thriving right now in the summertime.
I love it. So when is your first trip to the beach? Because we are getting close to the summer.
Last weekend I went already. Like Memorial Day. Okay. Yeah, Memorial Day I normally start, and it was actually decent weather. It was pretty good for a first trip. I can't complain.
Okay. Yeah, this week's been off and on, but today was a nice day. So
yeah, thank God. It was so nice. I did play out
there. Okay, what do you love most about the beach?
I think like I think it's become like a spiritual thing for me. For me, it's like I go there because I have a place. I have a travel trailer that stays there. And so it's just like I go there and I'm just like unplugged. Like it makes me work harder during the week because I know I have that like clock out time.
Great.
Yeah, like I just have my own little routine down there. Like I go for a walk outside, like I make my breakfast, I go to the beach, I lay out. Like it's just a nice flow. Yeah.
See, the crazy thing is I love to go to the beach to sleep. I don't know why.
I'm a bum. Yeah, I just lay. My kids are over it. They're like, are we going to the private beach? Which means we're not going to the ocean. And like they're so bored because I just lay there all day.
I just love to lay there and just take a nice beach nap. It's so peaceful. Yeah. The ocean water is just so soothing. My son's like, Mom, we did not come here to go to sleep. I'm like, let me just get a little nap in.
I know. They're like, oh, beach vacation. And I'm like, oh, beach. Like, we're not doing anything.
Right. I love it. Yeah. So before we get into your journey and your testimony in regards to, your transition and how you actually help women, can you tell a little bit about yourself and, how was your life growing up?
Yeah. So I'll be honest. I look back at my childhood. I look back at like those years and it wasn't like a happy, bright time, but that's like a part of my story and it's why I'm where I'm at. Like growing up, went to the beach a lot and things like that. My parents divorced at a young age. So I was back and forth. At some point, my mom and I had like we just butt heads. So I moved in with my dad full time. But actually by the time I was 17, my dad was diagnosed with cancer and soon passed away. So it was really sudden. Yeah. And he was like one of those biker dudes. Like he was full of tattoos.
Oh, he was chill.
Yeah, and he was jacked and he owned his own business. Like he was such a badass. He was tough. So for him to get cancer and for cancer to win, like it was such a shock because I thought he was indestructible kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, so that's really that's not even the dark part that I'm talking about. That's like sad and that's morbid. But like when I was in 5th grade, that's when my journey really began as far as like weight, because that's when kids started saying stuff to me when I was in 5th grade, I remember. And at that point, like, I didn't notice yet. Like, I wasn't comparing myself to other people or anything like that. But then and it was boys. When I say kids, like, it was really,
yeah, boys are so
which I feel
cool.
like some people are so surprised at. Everybody thinks it's the girls that are like the catty ones. But I mean, for me, like, my bullies were boys.
Okay.
Yeah, and there was like no mercy with them. Like, they did not hold back. So that's where, and I was like, when I actually came to terms with how overweight I was, then my parents started to, make comments, and my grandparents were concerned because
Wow.
I was like, I remember seeing 140 when I was in like 3rd grade, like stepping on the scale. And that's pretty big for that age. Like, so I was significantly overweight. And it was really from there on out that I was obsessed with comparing myself to who I was going to school with and what they were wearing and how they looked in clothes and how much bigger I was, and like the body shame and the comparison, the obsession. And yeah, that honestly, like, that pretty much sums up where I came from and where it started. Because like, that's all
foundation of everything.
Yeah, that's really what it was. That's my memories of just trying to lose weight. Honestly.
Wow. How did it feel? Well, like, what emotions were, because you're in 5th grade, what emotions were you going through as a child when your family started, basically piggybacking off everything that you were hearing in school? Because I can only imagine you have to go to school and hear this, and then you're coming home and they're like, oh, girl, like, I don't know what things they were saying, but I know mentally as women, we're emotional beings. So
Yeah,
I know it's some type of affected you in some type.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When it's coming from your peers and like, think too, if it's coming from your parents, it's almost like it's got to be a fact, because we don't know any different. Growing up, like, we hold them to, like, their authority, what they say, like, that has to be a fact. We don't second guess whether they're actually right. We might argue with them, So when it was coming from them, and when I'm hearing it in all different directions, I'm like, okay, like, I have a problem. I have to change. Like, I have got to get control on my weight. And what I mean by that is, like, Breanna, you don't, let's have a smaller serving tonight, or you don't need to have a cookie, or maybe just wait a little bit. Like, just those comments. And those are things we as adults
we do.
Yeah. That seed was planted, and it just grew. So I very much took what they said to heart, and I very much believed that they were right, and I had to listen to them. Like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, they're not wrong. So that's how I felt about that.
Oh, wow. When do you feel like you hit personally, like, when do you feel like you hit your turning point where you started being obsessed with your body and trying to lose weight and nothing was working?
Ooh. Well, okay, so I got my first eating disorder. I was 13, and it was bulimia. And I started with binging before purging. I started purging before binging. Most people start that cycle with binging. So, like, they overeat, and then they want to get rid of it because they're scared they're going to gain weight, all the things. But for me, I was like, okay, I thought my problem, I was eating too much, or my portions were too big. So I would purge, like, I was eating less. And then that was leading to binging because I was malnourished, I was starving, I was depleted of nutrients and all the things. So that led to a binge, which then led to the purge, and then led to so it was a cycle. And that, if I really stuck to that, which sounds so terrible to say, but if I really stuck with it, and I really tried to get rid of all of my food every time I ate, I would lose weight. Like, I would be low. But I got to a point, like, fast forward a shit ton of years, late 20s, I was like 20, 28. And at this point, I did get help for my eating disorder. I was recovered from that. And I was vegan. And so at this point, it was right after I had my second daughter. I think a lot of moms go through this, but I got, like, really into being very like clean ingredients and what I'm feeding my body, and like just really healthy, very aware of what I'm feeding myself and what I'm absorbing, like just all the things. And that became, I realized, a therapist had to tell me this, that I was orthorexic then. Orthorexia is when you're really obsessed with being healthy and only eating healthy. Like that's, now I'm orthorexic. And I feel like I kind of shifted from that, but I was vegan at the time, and I was vegan, and I was just under 200 pounds. And I'm like, I'm eating like a rabbit. Like I'm not even eating the foods I want to eat, or the foods that, like, I am completely restricting and I'm my heaviest. So that's where I'm like, by this time, if we're fast forwarding all those years, I've tried eating disorders, I've tried working out, I've tried diets, I've tried going vegan, I've tried just being super healthy. Nothing works. Like nothing's working. I mean, I looked at, if I say this now too, and there is no like negative from this, but if Ozempic or the injections were available at that time, I absolutely would have been the person that was like, oh my God, sign me up. I don't care what it costs. If you're telling me there's something that works, I would have paid anything in the world for it. Because I feel like I really just depleted my options.
Yeah. Do you feel like you went through like a guinea pig stage where you was like trying everything?
Yeah, I remember I tried, what are they called? Like appetite suppressants, but I feel like there's another name for them. I'm hitting a blank, but like diet pills, but like, what is the name for them? There was like a name from back in the day, like before our generation, like where doctors used to prescribe them all the time. But that's what I tried. So appetite suppressants and things, uppers, maybe not upper, but it was like Synodrex is one I'm thinking of.
Okay. Okay.
So it's supposed to like, but your heart rate is like, you know, and you're so thirsty, and like it is like a drug. It is not good.
Wow.
But yeah, I tried, I feel like everything. Honestly,
tried everything. What did your parents like? Did they know you were binging when you were going through the cycles, or did they find out? Because it's like, you guys are telling me I'm this, you know, I'm overweight, and then it's like I'm trying to do something to fix the solution, even though it's not the right thing to do. What was your parents saying? What was your mom saying around that time?
I'm actually like really pleased that you asked me that question. I've never been asked that question, and I, you know, pretty much shared the same details. So my dad, by the time I was really in it, I think I was full-time with my dad. But I remember the very first time I did it, I was at my mom's house, which is just a random fact. But I remember my dad's girlfriend at the time caught me. And I don't remember how she caught me, but she did. And she made me tell my dad. And I remember being so offended, like, that's so mean. She's like, if you don't, I'm gonna. And I'm like, oh, that's so mean. But
now I don't like you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wasn't all like that, but I had a moment where I'm like, I'm not anymore. Yeah. But I was also like, I think I had mommy issues at the time, and I was clinging on to that role. So like, I wasn't about to be like, screw you. I think I was in need of like love and nurturing because I didn't have my mom around. But my dad, he was just like, we gotta stop. That's it. That's my answer. That's all he said. He was like, we gotta stop. And I remember he caught me a couple times after that. But that was the gist of it. Like, other than that, he didn't know. And my first boyfriend, I was with him probably for a good 5 years before I ever told him. Wow. 5 years. And that's something that you do on a daily basis. And a lot of your day, depending on your window, there's usually a window. Right. You like dedicate that time to that. And you have to be very sneaky and strategic. And it's a big secret to hide, honestly.
Wow. I was about to say, like, even in school, you know, and then I guess trying to binge in school, and then someone coming in the bathroom and here, you know, and they're like, probably like, are you pregnant? You know, because like,
yep.
So I can only imagine. Wow, wow, wow. Did you ever have a period in your life where you felt like you went through like any cycles of emotional eating? Because, you know, sometimes when I'm going through a lot, I'm like, oh, I just want some ice cream.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the whole time. The whole time. And that's the thing. Like, people still are like, oh, you know, they go through those situations and they talk about it like food is the problem, like, oh, the food. But really, it's not that you need to not have that particular food in the house or that you need to restrict yourself. It's why you're reaching for it. And it is an emotional thing. But it's also hard too, because we use food for everything. We use it to celebrate, we use it to numb, we use it to, you know, when we're frustrated, we use it to distract, like for so many things. So most people struggle with emotional eating. Yeah.
I agree. Can you break down what it looks like for someone that's stuck in that moment of having the cycle of emotional eating?
Yeah. So basically, it's always like the problem is never the problem. It's the why behind the why behind the why. So if somebody's stuck in that cycle, it's, well, first of all, so like, for example, I would have somebody food journal for like a week or two, usually about a week. And it's not to see what they're eating. That awareness can be really helpful. That's why a lot of people start food logging and using MyFitnessPal, because then they can see how much they can track. But it's really about, the reason I do it is to pick up on the patterns. There's going to be certain times in your eating, in your schedule, where you tend to binge or you tend to reach. And it's finding those patterns and uncovering why, like what's leading up to that. So most people, when they emotional eat or they binge or whatever, or they graze, it's in the evening or it's the late afternoon because of everything they dealt with throughout the day. Like it's tied to something. So it's really uncovering those patterns and finding the behaviors that lead up to that. And a lot of times too, that from that, it's now become a habit. Like you associate things with that. Yeah.
That makes sense, because I work overnight and it's like I'll eat earlier in the day, but it's always around like 1 or 2 o'clock. It's like I want a snack.
Yeah. Yep. That's what I said. Everybody always has some kind of window, you know. Mine was always like 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock or 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock. There was I'd wake up and I'd be like so good, so in control. And then all of a sudden, like fast forward 6 hours, it's gone. Like I lost it. It's like and then I lose. Like I always gave in.
You felt defeated.
Yep. Yeah.
When did you hit your transformation of, this isn't helping, nothing's helping, it's not about the food, but it's about my belief and boundaries?
So that's where, it was my vegan moment.
Okay.
28 years old. And like I said, I was eating so healthy, and I was seeing myself in pictures. And see, most people with their body dysmorphia, like they can be super skinny and they'll still see chubby, For me, I felt like I was doing so much and doing all the things that when I saw pictures, I was shocked. I'm like, that's what I look like. Like I actually thought I looked better than what I did. And it was a reality check every time, and it knocked me down. So I was just like, clearly I've tried everything out there. Like nothing's working. Maybe it's my genetics. Maybe it's this is just my body. Like I was just at a point where I was so defeated and so over it, my rock bottom, that I was just like, how can I just I just want to start living. Like I've done this all my life at this point. I have kids now. I'm missing my life. I'm not living. Like how can I just be free and put this down and live my life and just feel good? Like it's okay. I was willing to accept this version of myself, even if it meant I wasn't skinny. Like I was okay with that. So I just wanted to feel better. So and it's not like I had someone say this to me recently. They were like, oh, I wish I could do that. Because I literally, I say it like I put it down, but it's not like it was a switch that I could have just flipped and just been like, you know what, I'm done with this. We're going to move on. I had to get to that point where I was just over it because I feel like I had no other option. So I wanted to make the best of the life I had left, which was, a good amount, but like I've wasted a bunch up until this point. So at that point, I really just wanted to feel better, and I put weight loss down, and I started going much deeper. And that's when I realized a lot of this is tied to trauma and like how I view myself, how I feel about myself, why I feel the way I feel about myself. And it went back to childhood. It went back to a lot of things. And when I started healing from within, that's when the outside started to change. So I always say this, how I looked then, and it's not Not that I was ugly, not that I was, I hate it, I don't even like to use this word, FAT. Not that I was that, but it was no surprise that the outside looked the way it did because of all the crap that was going on the inside. So, yeah.
I love how you basically had to reset your mind, focus on something else, because I think as women, sometimes we put so much energy in something that it does take over everything else. And it's like, wow, I didn't even get nothing done today because I'm so focused on this.
Yeah, it really does consume you.
I love that. How can you help other women that, feel stuck, maybe even in stress, or self-sabotage themselves because they're so like sunk in this hole of not feeling good enough, or not feeling love, or not being at the weight that they want to be able to refocus on something else, and maybe even learn how to love themselves first? Like, what tips can you give women that may have experienced the same thing that you've been through?
Well, I do want to say, when your nervous system is dysregulated, your body literally believes that you're unsafe. So a lot of times weight on the body is a form of protection. It is a form of, gosh, that's a tongue twister for a second. It's a form of protection. So it's like a physical manifestation of what's going on the inside. And in that state, no amount of logic or motivation or meal prep is going to stick. That's not the answer. You'll just keep sabotaging because survival will always override strategy. Like the cycle I was in, like I said, by 3 p.m., literally at war with myself. Like there was no winning. And when you heal the nervous system, it teaches the body that peace is safe. Like you can be at peace. You can be free from this. And slowing that and just slowing down in general is safe. And nourishment is safe, and food is safe. And when your body feels safe, your behaviors naturally start to align with love instead of fear. You're no longer in that survival state.
That's real deep. And I don't think people really understand that they're hand in hand. Like they collaborate with each other.
Yeah. Literally.
I love that.
Most people just think they're broken. Like, and I'm like, you're not, there's nothing wrong with you. It's not you. You're not broken. You've just been taught to fight your body instead of listening to it. The world told you that your worth was tied to how little you ate or what you looked like and how hard you pushed and what to do and what not to do, when to do it, all the things. But like, really, has that, like, take a second and think about that. Has that really worked for you this far?
And I think also a lot of things on social media doesn't help either. It doesn't help either. What is your input on, social media and doing the body shaming? What's your intake on that?
What do you mean about body shaming?
Like, a lot of celebrities, they're in, good, they look good from what we can see, but they have other things going on. And most of the people that aren't in the best of shape, they get a lot of body shame, but they're confident in themselves. How do you feel, or what's your input in regards to that when it comes to how the social media views people based off of what they can see from the outside?
I'm not sure I know what you mean in that sense. Like, so I know what you mean by, like, if you look at the typical celebrity, they're in great shape. Like you see them get pregnant and it's like, oh my God, like, how are they just baby? And then you have, but then there's like this movement of body positivity. And so I feel like there's been, like, there's definitely stuff behind the scenes and there's comparison, but I feel like as far as it being out in the open, like, I guess I have the view on it of, if people were to still be body shaming, like, you're going to get eaten alive for that. Like, there are so many people that are quick to, like, that, like, to me, that language is like picking on somebody for their skin color or being gay or something like that. Right. Like, that's really not, when you make comments like that nowadays on social media in the comment section, like, you'll get eaten alive. So
you'll get eaten alive more than anything else.
Yeah, like, people are, and rightfully so for the most part.
Right.
You have people that are really just sensitive over everything. And you still you get eaten alive because it's like there are people out there that are just trying to share their story and they're like, well, you shouldn't have done this, you shouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
The judgment is
There we go.
Yeah, okay, so maybe if you would have worded it different for me.
Yeah, it's definitely the judgment, and I feel it's a lot of people that, you know, on social media, they're like internet bullies, when it's just like, if they're happy in their own skin and, you know, they're enjoying life no matter what they're looking like, what is it to you?
Okay, here's the cool thing. Here's what I'll say about it. So when you are, because that walking around like that, regardless of what you look like, that's healed AF. Like that is
okay.
And you really don't compare yourself and care about what other people think. You're like, when I go through this work with people and they have somebody, for example, they're always like one person in particular, they're always on them for their weight and judging them for how they look and their food habits and things like that. By doing this work, one of two things happen. Either A, they stop completely, it goes away, and it mind boggles people. They're like, yeah, they just stopped. I'm like, see, I told you. Either that happens, or you become so healed that you don't even notice. And then in turn, they end up stopping anyway because they're not getting a reaction out of you. So really, again, the body shaming, the comments, that kind of like language and experiencing that, it's not that it's your fault, but it's also kind of a you problem. If it's triggering you,
there we go.
You have underlying issues that you've got to heal from. But I'll also say, on the contrary, that if you are really healed like that, like we're talking about, you're not going to be heavy, because the weight is a protection thing and it's a manifestation of being like that. So when you are healed like that on the inside, that goes along with, it'll either just stop or it'll go away or you won't notice anymore. But also it's going to be because you don't have that anymore to be picked on for. It really does. The weight loss does follow with the internal work that
so it may just be a shield. Like, I'm okay, I ain't worried, but deep down inside, you don't know what they're going through when they get home. That makes sense.
So there are people out there that and think of it too, like if you see a heavier person and they're like they seem like they're untouchable and they're confident, that first of all, that is so attractive. Like it's like
I wish I had that confidence, right?
Yeah. But they do probably, if they've got that kind of protection on them or they're dealing with that, I think it is only human to say that behind closed doors, I think they're bothered by it too, you know?
Yeah. That makes sense. Can you what is your are you still vegan?
No.
Oh, okay. I was just about to say no. What is your intake on, because I travel a lot and I'm gonna be honest, like the type of food when I go other places are so authentic, so really like so good, and you can taste the difference. And then I come back here and I'm like, ugh, disappointing. What is your right? Like, what is your intake on obviously fast food and, you know, the type of processed food that we have these days, and what people can do that live a busy life, like women that are taking kids to soccer, football, basketball practice, you know, helping out with the parents-in-law, being a wife, and all. What is some ideas or things that they can do where they don't have to pick up fast food, or, you know, some good eating habits to help them?
Oh my God, as you're asking this, I'm like, this way, all these things. So, well, first of all, okay, where do I want to start? So when you're making food choices from a healed place, from a good balanced place, it's not whether I should eat this or I shouldn't. It's not how many calories does it have or doesn't have, or how good it is for you and how bad it is. There's no labels. You're making choices from, of course, financially, like, you know, you want to have a budget. You want to stick to like a certain budget. You want to make food choices from, do I actually want this? So again, you're not eating it because you should be eating it and you already had a shitty meal the night before.
Right.
Or do I actually want it, number one? And two, how am I going to feel after I eat this? So for example, by going vegan, I realized dairy like really doesn't sit with me well. Like I don't feel good. Not that I'm like intolerant or anything, but I really don't feel good after I have ice cream. I feel heavy and bloated and nauseous, like just sick. Like I don't have an appetite for a while after that. I don't feel good. So when you're making choices from a healed place, it's what do I actually want and what's going to make me feel good. Now, that's a common obstacle for some people. Like I'm busy. How can I set myself up for the week when I'm super busy and I can't be fast food all the time? I will say, like, I probably get a pizza. I don't know if this is like a bad mom moment or not. I probably get pizza for my kids like twice a year. We don't get, I mean, there's occasions for sure. Like, I'm not saying I never do it, but McDonald's is a treat. Like, again, maybe a couple times a year. Ordering Chinese, like I never do takeout. I think it started for me with a financial thing. Like it was like, no, it's cheaper to cook at home, make your own meals. But also that me living that lifestyle also came there, like it stemmed from a couple things. One of those being, well, I want to know what's in my food. I want to make it at home because it is healthier. It is a wiser choice. It is cheaper. Like the good outweighed the bad as far as cooking at home versus takeout. So when I have people come to me and they're struggling with the balance and how do you find time to cook and meal prep and I don't want to do that and all these things, it's okay. Well, really, if your week went well and you were happy with your meals and what dinner looked like on a day-to-day basis during the week, what does that look like? Most people think they know what they want, but they don't. They're like, oh, I just don't have time to cook, so I get fast food. All right, well, how do you want your week to look? Do you want homemade meals every night? Is that realistic for you? Do you need to make chicken in bulk and make 3 different, dinners that have chicken in it? Like, it's really what works for somebody else. It doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Like I have a completely different lifestyle than a lot of people. Like, so not in a good way, not in a bad way, just like as far as like my availability and how much I'm home. I work from home. So I might have the ability to be able to prep more and go to the store more often than a 9-to-5 mom who has soccer practice. So you're going to have to set yourself up in a different way than I would. But it's really taking a step back. And if you were to look at your week ahead and if it were to work out perfectly and it all went as planned, how does that look? And then from there, you fill in the gaps. So it's like, okay, if on Sundays you have a 3-hour window that you typically just lay around, can you dedicate some of that time to setting yourself up for the week? So that's getting the ingredients for cooking, or that's picking the dinners you want, picking 5 meals for the week that because a lot of people go in blind and they're like, oh, I don't know what's for dinner tonight. I don't know what's for dinner tomorrow. And then you just keep repeating that every week. So it's really going back and taking a step back and seeing how you can set yourself up.
I love that. And you made a good point. I think a lot of people, don't realize that you do have to make some sacrifices if you want some changes. So like, you don't have to wait until Sunday, if that's the day that you have the your period, the free time, get a little bit from the grocery store one day a week. So then when Sunday comes, you have everything that you need. You already know what you're gonna. And writing, I love writing. Writing is very important, but that's what keeps me sane. Write it down so that way when Sunday gets here, you're not tired. You don't have to spend that extra time to go to the grocery store to get everything. You already have everything. You can prep everything, and then you still have a little bit of cushion if you need to relax.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So I think it just comes with, being obedient with yourself and knowing if you really want it, but also, making a sacrifice on the time that you have versus not doing anything at all, because something is better than nothing.
Yeah. And another thing I wanted to say was I always use this one client as a reference. So we never really talked about, we talked about nutrition, but we never got to what I'm about to share. So this was like 3 months in and she's like, Brie, I don't even know who I am. I don't even recognize myself. She's like, my fridge is so stocked with like all these vegetables and all these colors and stuff. And she did that on her own. So it's kind of like when you're doing this work and you're starting to heal from within and you're addressing things by the root cause, you inevitably naturally start to make choices that are aligning with the person you're becoming. So like, just the same as you looking at the week ahead by starting, like, you know how they always say your morning routine, a successful morning routine starts with a successful bedtime routine, because it's taking a step back. But then also when you're doing this work, it's like I tell people, so by saying look at the week ahead, if you pictured how you want it to play out and if it worked out perfectly, what does that look like? It's the same thing with your goals and your weight. If you were to think about the version of you who does eat at home and doesn't eat out, and she does cook, and she does she's happy with her weight, and she's lost the weight, and she's happy with her body, what are the decisions she's making? How does she live her life? So it's like when you start aligning with that person and you get clear on who that person is, you start making choices that are intentional, that line up with that person, but you also start to make choices. It's like a domino effect in the right direction. So you'll naturally, truly naturally not want to stop for fast food all the time. You will want to dedicate the time to cook meals and have that done and set yourself up, if that makes sense.
I love that. So what was the outcome with your client after, you guys talked and she realized that, she had a healthy refrigerator inside, but
yeah. Well, I just want to say this too. Same client. She, our very first set, actually before we even started working together, when she was, teeter-tottering, inquiring, she's like, my problem is peanut M&Ms. She's like, I love them. I just, please don't make me get rid of them. And first of all, I won't. Like, if you come to me and you're like, Brie, like, I don't want to give up ice cream. Like, I eat ice cream every night after dinner. It's my treat. And I'd be like, oh my God, why would I take that from you? Live your life. However, on the contrary, you do get to a point where you don't want it anymore. So my point with the peanut M&Ms, fast forward a couple months, she's like, she went on a trip with her daughter to Atlantic City, and she got a peanut M&Ms because they were really, really hungry. And she didn't even want, she was like, just
she didn't want them.
It's kind of like quitting smoking. And then later, not that you were a smoker, but like having that addiction, not being able to quit. And then one day after you quit, like eventually down the road, you're like, ugh, like that with that. So with the ice cream, with the food, you do get to a point where you're like, your desires are different. Your thought process is different. What sounds good to you is different, because you're literally transforming into future you. Future you doesn't like fast food. Future you doesn't eat the peanut M&Ms. And it's not because it's a bad food. It's because it's just not, those just aren't the choices you make anymore.
I love that. It's rechanging your mindset. What encouragement could you give to maybe young moms struggling, silently with mental health, or feeling like they have it all together, but they're really struggling?
The awareness, number one, coming to terms with the fact that you are struggling. Like, it's amazing, because when I was going through it, when I was really seeking help with my weight, really my eating disorder is what I'm talking about. And that was 2013 was when I wanted to get help for my eating disorder, and I didn't want to live like this anymore. The resources were like pitiful. Like I remember driving all the way to Hershey, which is over an hour away at the time, to see this dietitian because she was the only one I could find. Just all the and it was just no help. She was like, you can have a cheeseburger and chips for lunch, and I promise you won't gain weight. And I'm like, I drove all the way here for this. And like, I remember after the fact being like, hey, I'm going to try this. I'm going to do this cheeseburger and chips thing. And like, I didn't lose weight. I just was annoyed. That's what I needed. So like, and it wasn't talked about. Social media wasn't as big then as it is now, but it was still, people didn't talk about that yet. Now, oh my God, ChatGPT can probably help you through it. Yeah. And I don't recommend that. I'm just saying the resources are endless. That's why I say, like, if you were to make a video on TikTok about how unhappy you are with what you may believe is a large body, and you're struggling with your eating, you are more than likely probably going to get more people to comment supportive stuff and resources than you are the people being like, shut up, go eat a burger. Like, that's not a thing anymore. Not out loud anyway.
Right.
But so really it's you have to get to a point where you are aware that you are struggling. A lot of people just keep sweeping it under the rug, keep repeating it day after day, week after week, silently, because it's easier. They don't have the time to dedicate to getting help and all these things. They don't have the money to invest in help. But the sooner you come to terms with it and accept that it's okay to not do it alone, that's a turning point.
That's a turning point. Yeah, I love that. And then everything else will just follow once you have the acceptance, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yep. For sure. Yeah.
I love that. Taking a look back at your life and everything that you've been through, and now being where you are now, you know, definitely in a good place. If you could speak to your past self or any woman still obsessed with her weight, what would you do for her to set herself free? Now, I know we talked about mental health, but what would you, physically let them know to set themselves free?
You were not born like this, and you were not born, and you were never meant to be at war with yourself. Your body isn't the problem. You are not the problem. It's your pain. It's your trauma. It's something in the past that is just asking to be seen. You don't have to keep proving your worth through suffering. Like that's not living. There's a way to be free, and you are allowed to love yourself now, not later, not when you're skinny, not when you do the thing, not when, like stop living in the future. You can let go of that thinking. And you're never too far gone. Your healing it's not only possible, but it's your birthright. Like literally, YOLO. You live one time. Every week, every year you waste, it's not, I hate to say it like that, you're wasting, but you're only wasting because you're not living. It's just, it can be really
hard. Free. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the times what we're not, when we're struggling like that, we don't feel seen. We don't feel worthy. We don't feel valuable. We just don't feel good. And we don't think we will until we're skinny or until we feel like X, Y, or Z, but that's not the case. Like you can feel like that now.
I love that. I love that. Can you give us one of your success stories with one of your clients? Or your favorite success story? Yes.
Yeah. So that's, I will say, like, I don't have favorites or anything like that.
Okay.
Everybody comes to me for the most part. I've had clients that don't come to me for weight loss. They just want to be healthier. They just want to feel better. They want to make some habit changes, whatever. Mm-hmm. But pretty much everybody comes to me for weight loss, but it's never like their testimonials, their success stories are never about how much weight they lost. Like they oftentimes leave that part out if I ask for a testimonial or something, because they're just so different and transformed with like never touching. Again, we'll talk about nutrition. That is a pillar of this work, right? But it's not the main focus, and it's not where we start. Definitely not where we start. But a lot of times they go on to do that on their own because it's just now aligned with them. That same client who made the food shifts, she gives me recipes now. But anyway, it's so cool. I'm so proud of her. She did lose weight. She lost 48 pounds. She's almost at the pound mark. I worked with her for a good 6 months. And when I first started with her, she's on her feet all day. She's very busy. And she did say to me, she's like, I'm open to movement, but I'm really not, I'll never join a gym. Like I'm not comfortable with that. I don't want to go to the gym, whatever. She goes to the gym, I think, more than I do now. Again, like she joined in January, and she goes all the time now. I never told her to do that. We never even touched that part. But she was ready. She was continuing to transform and evolve, and going to the gym aligned with who she was becoming. Like she wanted to be somebody who went to the gym. That sounded good to her. That fit her new. That didn't sound good to her. Started. Well, what'd you say?
Right. I said her lifestyle. That's transitioning into her new lifestyle.
Yeah. That is why people say, I remember that being so cliche for a while. It's a lifestyle change. but it actually is. Like, you can't just change one thing or just two things. Like, you have to, everything you're doing, everything you think, everything you say, all the habits you do, what time you wake up, how many times you hit snooze button, who you are and who you're showing up as, what your habits are, what your behavior's like, is what your world looks like. That's your reality. You create your own reality.
That's true. It is a lifestyle, and that's with anything. When it either comes to your schedule, your kids,
Right.
like all that is a part of your lifestyle. So every piece makes who you are.
Definitely, 1,000%. Yep. Yep.
So where can we find you? How can people, celebrate you, get in contact with you? Definitely by, the transition of your life, of where you were and where you are now and how you're helping women. How can we find you? How can we promote you?
I am on social media. I'm all over social media. I definitely like TikTok's my favorite. I'm definitely
okay. Hopefully they don't take it back.
I know, I got so upset. But you know what? Like, I can't, and I'll tell you what, I pretty much do most of my recording in there. I have 600 drafts in there. What? Like, if TikTok
We talked about that marketing before we started.
Yeah. Like, talk about, I don't batch content. Like, I don't do that. When I have something to say or when I feel pulled to like talk about something, I record it. And then they sit in there until I edit them and I get to them. And there's a lot that goes into posting.
Wow, 600.
Yes.
You gotta write a series.
Yeah. Every time I log on, it's like, I don't know how I'm not out of memory yet, but I don't remember how it words it, but your memory is getting full. Please delete some or whatever. Okay, so yeah, I'm on TikTok as.
I'm sorry.
that was my tangent. Weight loss coach Bree.
Okay.
And then I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Those are Breanna Angstadt or Breanna Angstadt. Breanna with an E.
Okay.
And then my website is justbewhole.com. And my socials are on there. So I usually just send people to my website because you can just find me on there too. Oh, and I'm on YouTube. I'm on YouTube these days.
Oh, you're on everything. So you can find her on every platform. Yeah, check her out.
My name. My daughter, she's 13, and she's like, I Googled your name, and guess what came up today? She's like, it said you own your own gym, but I was featured in my gym's Anytime Fitness last month. Or whatever.
Oh, okay. Like their magazine.
Yeah, like it was like their member of the month, but it was more business related, not like not like customer related. I don't know. Or member related. Yeah, but honestly, like, I don't mean it in like an ego way, but if you Google my name, you'll
not your daughter Googling you.
Yeah, thanks to my daughter.
So cute. I know. Oh, now you can be like, you can Google me.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of cool because she's like, yeah, I told my teacher about you today and we Googled you. And I'm like, okay.
That is too cute. Okay, I love that. Can you give us a little snippet of what someone would expect if they will become your client?
So I actually yes, definitely. Typically, up until a couple months ago, I just did one-on-one coaching, and that would be in person, it would be online, whatever you prefer. If you're local, I typically did it in person, but obviously I have people that are out of state and things like that, so we'll do Zoom. But I have something else that I came up with, and it's a membership, and it's called Mindset Drip. And that is something, it's a very low commitment container, both for you and me. So I'm in there every morning, literally 7 days a week. It's not a Monday through Friday. It's 7 days a week that I am dropping a daily drip. I wanted to make sure I said that right. Dropping a daily drip of a way to rewire your mind to get you to successful weight loss. So it is, it's mainly geared around weight loss, but I'll give you journal prompts. I'll give you tips. I'll give you to implement. I address frequently asked questions, things like that. So it's a membership that you can chime in every single day. And it's like, I have some people that are like, oh, I don't chime in every day, but then every Thursday, like I binge and I love it. Like that's my time where I just binge and I listen to you. But it is the most exciting thing I feel like I've come up with. It is so fun. Yes. And like,
I love the name Mindset Drip. Like, I love that.
Yes, I know. I was sick a couple months ago. I was down and out. I think I told you that. Like, I had COVID. It was sick. And as soon as I got better, and I feel like I died for a couple weeks, like it was awful. When I got back up again,
resurrection.
I came up with it, and it was like it was handed to me on a silver platter. Like, I thought of it and I put it together in like a morning. I even put like my sales page together, and that, when I did my first sales page, that took me weeks. But it was so easy and fun to put together, because I'm like, this is going to be huge. And the results and the feedback and like what people are saying about it is far exceeding like even what I had hoped for. Like, I knew it was going to be good and stuff, but it's so good. It's so cool. It's something I really, truly wish I had. And I remember someone saying to me, they're like, are you sure you want to like really advertise that and commit to doing 7 days a week? And I'm like, yeah, because even if it's a Saturday and I'm like, oh, but it's Saturday, that's when I need the reminder.
Right.
Like, some kind of, because that's what I'm about. Like, it's all about finding the silver lining in things, finding good in everything. And when you're down, that's when you need something. So yeah, I'm in there every day.
I love it. And this is only the beginning. So hopefully we can get people that's tuning in to the membership. Can they feedback and comment and everything as well?
Yeah, I do have a separate like community chat for it. It's in Telegram. So I have my channel where like I just do the posting, and so I'll have like journal prompts, and then I'll have the voice note. It's always a voice note. And then I also have the community chat where you can introduce yourself and interact with other people, a comment. And then this is recent. I haven't actually launched it yet. It's available for access. You could purchase it, but I didn't launch it yet quite like, publicly. But now I have
tiers. Now.
Yeah, right? Hello. Now we're live. So you'll see, if you want to find out more information, it is on my website. But I now have tiers. So like, there's the VIP version, there's Drip Plus. So which is closer. Yeah, it's again, like that was more requested. I didn't think I was going to do tiers, but people are like, okay, I don't think I'm ready for one-on-one coaching. I don't want that kind of commitment, but like I want closer proximity to you. How can I ask you questions? How can I get a little bit more coaching, but not like one-on-one, so things like that. So there are tiers to it if you want to have more support, or if you're ready to kind of take that next level, but not commit to one-on-one coaching.
Okay, that's dope. That's drip. That's drip.
I know, I love it. I love it. Today's drop is so good, and I just love it.
And you just came live out with it too, letting everybody know. So hopefully I didn't spoil that. But I love it. Congratulations to that as well. Truly, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story, and hopefully you were someone that was listening, able to gain some knowledge in regards to stop focusing on the weight. Stop focusing on the weight. Be sure to go to her website, tune in, subscribe to her membership so that you can get the one-on-one that you need, or even just a couple drips from there and there. So before we close out, there is one question that we ask all of our guest speakers, and that is, what makes you uncommon?
Oh, that is a good question. So I feel like I've got this wild combo that most people don't have. I've turned my deepest wounds into like my most powerful tools. Like, I've really turned my trauma, my struggles, things like that. And I didn't just heal privately, but I've truly built an entire life and business helping other women do the same thing. Like, I get to keep reliving such a transformation. And yeah, I didn't just stop at healing or coaching. I literally made rewiring the human brain, the human experience, my whole brand. And I think that's pretty uncommon.
I love that. All right, let's check and see if we got any comments or questions. Thank you for 10 of Life tuning in. We appreciate you. Saying good evening, Queens. Okay, we don't have any questions, so we'll go ahead and close out. Thank you for our viewers for tuning in. Be sure to also go on Breanna's website if you need any other tools, questions, help. She's also on all the social media platforms. Hopefully she'll be downloading those 600 videos within the year. Within the year, we're going to give her a little bit of progress. We're working on a work in progress. if you would like to be a guest speaker, or if you know anyone that wants to come on and share their testimony in regards to the podcast, make sure they can visit our website at uncommonwomen.net. We are always taking people for the new season of season 8. And then we also have the self-love seminar that's coming up in November 23rd, as well as the chef competition on August 3rd. So I'll be having some promotional information soon with that. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And also share today's testimony. She's a phenomenal woman, living in her purpose, helping other women, and, doing it with grace. And then she's just dropped a new promo with the drip, which I love the name. So we got to get that on the shirt. We got to get that on the shirt. We got to get that. And I'll promote it. Definitely will promote it. But anyways, so thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I love you guys. And please remember to stay uncommon.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you've been shacking up with us for a while and haven't subscribed to our channel, what are you waiting for? Please like and subscribe to Uncommon Woman so you won't miss another episode. And remember, don't let anything or anyone affect your peace. Good vibes and stay uncommon.